hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane.
Hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to the Murder She Shed. This is the place we discuss true crime right from my she shed. I need to put a big warning on this case today. Graphic details of child abuse and neglect on this one, guys. Graphic. Please do not watch this video if it would be a trigger for you, okay? Make sure you smash that like and subscribe for more true crime content on my channel, Murder She Shed. All right, let's get started on this one. On December 13, 2019, the nightmare of Dakoda's life ended when AL-MUTAHAN severe beatings, water torture, and a brutal rape were finally too much for the 10-year-old child's body to withstand. AL-MUTAHAN is Takota Collins' biological father. Al lived with two sisters in this house of horrors. Let's start at the beginning. Takota Collins was born on December 18, 2008, to parents Robin Collins and Al-MUTAHAN in Wisconsin. When Takota was just under a year old, Robin admits to hitting him. She then received probation and lost custody of Takota. Mom was also sent to prison for drug abuse not too long after this incident. Then in 2013, Al is given full custody of Takota. He went to foster homes, but Al went and done a DNA test, which then they gave him full custody of Takota. In 2013, when Al is given full custody, he is living with Amanda Hines. And in December of 2014, Amanda buys a house in Dayton, Ohio, in which her sister Jennifer Ebert, Al, Takota, and Takoda's older brother lived in that home as well. On August 20th, 2016, Takoda's older brother, who was living with them, ran away from the home. Once found, he tells police that he's forced to do squats while holding a heavy backpack as punishment. Police contact Children's Services and officers are told a referral was made. Police attempt to search the address of that home, but couldn't access some parts because of pit bulls, apparently. Well, officers notice cameras inside and outside the house. But Al tells them the cameras don't record and were only present for show. It was not clear on when Takoda's older brother was taken from the home. I could not find that on anything. Sometime in 2017, Al's younger brother, the dad of Takoda's brother, moved into the house with them. He was only around 1 when he started living in the house due to possible abuse by a family member. This is when Takota was taken out of his bedroom, which was then given to Al's younger brother. The brother had clothing, toys, and was not treated like Takota. The girls of the house, Jennifer and Amanda, treated him very well. Takota at this point was moved into the attic. The attic would become the torture room where he would eventually die. From as early as his first grade year in 2015, Takota suffered daily excessive abuse inflicted by Al, but it seemed to intensify once he was moved to the attic. Teachers would say that Takota was sent to school daily reeking of urine and feces. He also was sent to school with horribly bad haircuts. Due to the smell and the bad haircuts, children would often make fun of Dakota. So sad. And Jennifer would later say, who is Amanda's sister, which is Amanda is the fiance. She would later say that Al would give him weird haircuts, knowing that it would cause the children to make fun of Dakota. Al demanded daily update reports from the school on how Dakota acted that day, and if he received anything other than glowing, Dakota would get punished. The punishment was to stand in the living room and hold a loaded book bag. Most days of the week, from the time he got home from school until it was bedtime, this was Dakota's life. On weekends, if Dakota did not have a good report, Dakota would be forced to stand in this position in the living room for the entire Saturday. The school kept calling children's services, so Al blamed not only the school, but Dakota for their intrusions and would take his rage out on Dakota, beating, throwing, kicking him, body slamming him. Any marks left behind would be covered by long sleeves and pants. Ultimately, fed up with the repeated interference, in May of 2018, Al and Amanda withdrew Dakota from school, and Amanda pretended to be the one to homeschool him by writing in false education plans. Originally, Dakota had the entire attic. However, in November 2018, he allegedly launched himself through an attic window, leaving them no option but to take him to the children's hospital. During that visit, psychological counseling was recommended as part of an aftercare plan. However, they did not follow through with making appointments. I'm sure if this poor child jumped out of that window, it was because he was just trying to escape the abuse, since he could not even get away by going to school. That's horrible. In the attic, they covered the window and put a lock on the door, so he would no longer have a chance of escaping. It was now a room filled with darkness. You see no light. Dakota was no longer allowed clothing. According to Al, he would just defecate and urinate on them. So he was kept completely naked in a dark attic with no blankets or bed, only a tarp to sleep on. They then became concerned that Dakota would try showing off his naked body to the 3-year-old brother. Yeah, so Dakota was only allowed to go to the restroom when the brother was asleep at night or when he took a nap in the afternoon. So they would not encounter each other in the hallway or some other place. Al would often call him fag and other slang words, as well as girls' names. Cameras were installed in Dakota's attic, and a TV that they could monitor him from was put in the living room. The rest of the house was well furnished, but the attic did not have any furnishings other than an old kitchen chair, a long lawn chair, which he was occasionally allowed to sleep on, and that tarp that he was on quite often. While they sat in their comfy living room, Al would make Dakota pose in these bizarre, painful poses, often bent over naked, with his legs crossed and hands touching the ground. I actually tried doing that pose. Since you cannot bend your knees, your thighs and calves are pulled super tight. It made me cry just thinking about this small boy having to do this pose till he got up in the morning until the afternoon, like 3 o'clock, every single day. Amanda and Jennifer would let Al know if he quit doing these poses so that Al could come beat Dakota if he disregarded the rules. Sadly, we are nowhere near the worst of this abuse. This case was almost too hard for me to cover. It was one of the worst cases I have ever researched. Horrible. Al became enraged that Dakota, who was confined to an attic without access to a bathroom, had defecated on the floor. Al would command Dakota to eat the feces. When Dakota refused, Al retrieved a glove, picked up the feces, and forced it into Dakota's mouth. Dakota tried to refuse, but Al forced him so he could not escape. He began gagging as he is forced to chew his own feces. After that, Dakota knew he was expected to eat his feces or face more punishment, so he just began doing it on his own. Dakota was also raped and strangled by Al at times. The authorities would later find dog shock collars and a taser in the house. Then on December 13, 2019, the torture inflicted on him would finally be too much for his small body, and he would leave this horrible life behind. Al had been out drinking when he came home. He turned his anger on Dakota. Jennifer from another room heard Dakota crying and saying, "No more," just like he had often said to his father. Amanda had dozed off on the couch and woke to Al punching Dakota hard in his stomach. The next morning, before the 3-year-old woke up, Jennifer called for Dakota to come down to use the restroom. Dakota was walking but holding onto the walls. He would wobble and fall and stand back up. Al's response was to elbow Dakota hard in the back and order him back upstairs. Once back upstairs, Al gave instructions to put away his folding chair and bend over for his punishment pose. Because Dakota did not move fast enough for Al, Al punished him. As Dakota laid down on his stomach, Al stood on his back, forcing all of his weight, and you can see he's not a lightweight, even reaching to the ceiling to push down his weight extra hard, crunching Dakota's little body. Al then went back downstairs to watch TV with the sisters, the whole time yelling up the stairs more slang names that we don't have to say. He then took a bottle of hot sauce up to pour on Dakota's buttocks. Al readily admitted that pouring hot sauce on Dakota's rectum was something he would do for punishment almost daily in the last weeks of his life. He said he would do it to keep him from defecating. He said his dad would put it on his thumb in order to keep him from sucking his thumb, so he apparently thought it would work on Dakota to keep him from defecating. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that one. I'm not sure Al was playing with a full deck. Y'all, just a warning, what I'm going to say next is horrifying. Still not satisfied that Dakota was sufficiently compliant, Al threw the child around more and grabbed him by the ears and dragged him down the steps. Al took Dakota into the bathroom and told him to clean his shorts. When Dakota again did not move fast enough, he was told to move faster or he was going to be drowned. Jennifer from the living room then heard splashing and Dakota gasping for air. He also had him drink glasses and glasses of water. I'm not even sure how much. According to him, in order to get all the poop out of him. Still not done, Al took the child back upstairs. And from the monitor, Jennifer could see Dakota on the lawn chair in the fetal position as Al stood behind him. While Al was standing behind Dakoda's back, Jennifer could see Al making a repetitive motion with his hand. Al's arm motion was going back and forth by Dakoda's rear end, and Jennifer thought Al could have been using hot sauce, but when he came downstairs, he tossed a chair leg behind the dresser. He literally broke the leg off the old chair in the attic and was ramming it inside of Dakota. You will hear him say in the police interrogation that Dakota had put it in himself and he had only pulled it out. Here is a small clip of that interrogation.
Who said anything about it not being connected?
You said that he must have snapped it off.
Yeah, he did. Had to.
When?
I noticed that this morning.
And that's what he was plunging?
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what you mean by plunging to me?
All right, so look. He had, a chair like this.
Right.
You take the back off,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to sit flat on the ground.
Okay.
And I seen him going like this, you hear me? I wasn't telling it. I wasn't able
So
to
he's
tell.
putting the chair leg in his
Yeah,
butt.
yeah.
That's what you're saying he's doing.
Yep, but here's the thing. I wasn't able to tell if that's what he was doing or if he was just taking another shit. Because every night he'll get up and do stuff like this. And just, slam it and scream, ah! You know what I mean? Now I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I gotta work. You only do it on the days that I gotta work the most.
Where do you work?
If ever I did work, whenever I can, I try to go to the temp service leg work, but I can't never work there that often because of the anxiety, the stress. I mean, I'm trying to hold it together. But
So this morning at 6 a.m. you see him, and I'm using your words, plunging on this chair.
not quite sure. I seen close to it, and that's what it looked like to me. It
So
just
you've
looked
seen
like,
him do this before?
yeah, but usually with his fingers, and he tried a couple of toys one time. I told social services, I mean, they you can't stop him from being gay or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you think he's doing this because he's gay?
I'm not sure if he wanted to hurt his, I know he liked to hurt himself every day. It's a combination. I don't know.
And so then later on you said something about the tarp being up his butt?
It's hard being up his butt.
You said
No.
that he pulled it out and he was squirting blood?
Yeah.
The tarp?
On the tarp. No, he pulled the stick out. Or whatever, the stool piece. He pulled it out his ass.
So you did see it in his ass then?
Yes. The second time
Okay.
I came upstairs. Because like I said, the first time I'm just watching him. I'm not sure. I'm
Okay.
just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He do it for a little bit and he stopped. It was all good. And then,
You didn't go up and check on him that time?
because he got himself together quick. So,
But at that point you knew he didn't poop because you said he would throw it if he pooped.
not all the time. You don't do the
Okay.
same thing every day.
But you didn't see poop from the camera?
No, I can't see it on the camera.
Okay.
So I had to go up there and check, of course.
Okay.
So,
But you didn't go up and check the first time. You waited till the second time.
right. Yeah, because I didn't want to, if somebody was home, I didn't want to wake the house up or cause more chaos. You know what I mean?
Where would everybody be at
My
6
dog,
a.m.?
my dog get to working. My girl work. Jenny go for walks.
What time's your girl work?
Evening, morning, it varies sometimes.
It varies. It's not in the evening only.
Lately it's been, but it varies sometimes. So,
Okay.
like I said, I didn't want to be a hassle that early in the morning. Like I said, I haven't been to sleep. So I got to try to stay calm, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as I can, and deal with the situation again, you know what I mean. So I go up there, I'm like, get that out your ass, you know what I mean. Once the wrestle, I finally yank it out.
So you pulled it out of his butt.
Yup.
So how far in was it?
I can't say. That's the thing. I don't know.
You don't know.
Because I ripped it out so quick.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so
that's
then he
just
started
inappropriate.
squirting blood everywhere.
Not much. It was just like just a real little bit here, a little bit there. So I'm like, all right, let's have a look at it. You know what I mean? And all I see is it was swollen a little bit.
You didn't see any tears or cuts or
Mm-mm.
no?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Not at the time, no ma'am.
Okay. So you take him downstairs and you put him in the bath?
Yep.
Okay. Is that the same bath water that was in there later, or did you change the bath water?
Same.
He then claimed he went to clean him up again because blood was squirting out, but it was in the same dirty tub water they had used to wash feces off of his body, and now he is putting open wounds into this dirty water. Then, after bathing him, putting that in the attic and went downstairs. Amanda would find him not breathing quickly after that and would call Jennifer into the attic room as well, where they would look at him, and instead of calling 911, they would quickly leave the attic and shut the door. There would be a recovered jailhouse call where they discussed that they had done everything they could do to keep Takoda from hurting himself. Because according to Al, all the injuries were self-inflicted. Jennifer assured Al, who force-fed the child feces and then murdered him, that he is a good dad and a good person. Wow. Sometime after that, they shut the door on Takoda. Al would call 911. Here is a short clip of that call and him complaining about the odor coming out of his mouth during CPR. Here it is.
Okay, how old is he? He's a child with a lot of medical issues. So what he do is he'll just not have it.
Stop, just for a minute. How old is he?
He's 11 years old.
Okay.
In 3 days. You breathing? Hello?
I'm here. You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to my child.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure. I'm still here. All right, they're on their way to 80, stay on the phone, 1934 Kensington Drive, right?
Yes.
Is that
I'm blowing in his breath,
Okay,
and it smells real rotten in the inside of his stomach.
Okay, is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house, ma'am.
Okay.
My son gonna be alright, because I mean, they put him in the back of the ambulance. So I'm thinking he's gonna be alright. And I ain't gonna lie, this is another thing I wanna say. When I went to give him CPR, and I was taking it, whatever it was, out his mouth, it smelled so rotten, so awful.
Upon arrival, paramedics found Al waiting at the door. Takoda, battered and bruised from head to toe, was lying alone, unresponsive, on the floor of the living room. The officer engaged Al in the conversation on the porch, during which Al continued his rant about his uncivilized, uncontrollable child, adding that Takoda ate his own feces on the regular. At one point, paramedics indicated Takoda had passed. Al's response to the news of the death of his child was, "All right, I tried to get you guys here as fast as I could." On Takoda's autopsy results, Takoda was battered from head to toe. Hundreds of lacerations and abrasions to Takoda's head, face, mouth, neck, chest, abdomen, back, buttocks, arms, hands, legs, and feet. Yeah, I know. With extensive bruising to his entire body, including his scalp, face, inside of his mouth, neck, chest, abdomen, buttocks, arms, legs, and feet. Pattern abrasions were noted on his chest, abdomen, buttocks, and posterior legs. Older scars, patterned and non-patterned, were seen on his torso and extremities. Injuries, lacerations, and bruisings were also visible externally in the anal area, as well as he had old and new rib fractures. When Takoda's scalp was reflected, deep bruising was observed to all areas of the head. Severe pulmonary edema or fluid in the lungs was noted that could relate to submersion in water. Common sense suggests one would find the contents of the stomach to appear different than contents found later along in the digestive system, such as in the bowels. Not for Takoda. His stomach had contents that were tan yellow type consistency. which appeared identical in color and consistency, kind of runny, to what was found in his bowels. On his back, there was a type of branding of 4 letters, a branding, guys, that appeared to begin with the letter T. This is, by its location, an area that would be unreachable and is thus wholly inconsistent with self-affliction. The bruising on the buttocks was full thickness of the gluteus maximus, so basically all the way to the bone of his bottom he had bruising. The anus had 2 half-inch lacerations. External examination showed the depth and the damage of this injury. The internal examination of the pelvic revealed abundant blood associated with this injury. The external injury is associated with internal lacerations that extend deep into the rectum. At the trial, the coroner would say that this type of injuries are typically only observed in events such as a severe car accident. The cause of death for 10-year-old Takoda was blunt force trauma combined with compressive asphyxia and water submersion. Manner of death was homicide. Al was given 51 years to life in prison for the rape and murder of his own son. Amanda was sentenced to at least 22 years and Jennifer to at least 8 years. I know that's a tough case. I had trouble digesting it myself. Just make sure if you suspect child abuse that you turn it in. Here's a number, a national hotline number. I just wanted to make sure to put that up there because it could be a matter of life or death. Before leaving me, make sure you hit that subscribe button for any future true crime cases that you might not hear anywhere else. All right, love you guys. Give your children an extra hug tonight and pray for the children that are not so lucky to be getting a hug or love at all. See you guys next time in the Murder She Said. Bye.
Above all the rest, put me to the test, expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second, this life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing, new focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession, you got their attention, now leave an impression, and take your redemption, just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon, 11-11, it's time for progression, Could try to play you, but you're never gonna